Okay, we're back with another video, and we're going to talk again about cruising on the Great Lakes and the Great Lakes Cruising Club. It,
And some very, very interesting upcoming webinars.
right, so we're going to focus once again on the Great Lakes Cruising Club School. And hey, let's take a look at the schedule. We've got some really interesting classes coming up. We're going to be talking a little bit about this one in a minute, the common phrases of nautical origin. That's coming up on Tuesday, December the 5th. Then on Thursday the 7th, weather forecasting apps with Mark Thornton. And then rounding out December, we've got the currents on the Great Lakes with Niels Jensen. So the school is underway, and it's been going great so far.
Well, I have to tell you, the one I'm most interested in is the one that we're going to be talking about tonight, nautical terms that have wended their way into the English language, because as you know, I'm a wordy.
Right.
My
Well,
sisters and I do the New York Times Wordle. We do spelling bee, and we love crosswords. So,
well, when we got into boating, and it was really a retirement gig, and so we didn't really know about it. I mean, Kelly had a lot more experience than I did, but I thought, we need to learn. So we went down and got into the American Sailing Association.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, we did the school there, and ASA 101, and that was all about terms. It's like you have to learn all the parts of the boat, parts of motors, parts of engines, and all of that. And every morning we had an exam.
About an hour-long exam, and well, I did my homework because I knew that was coming. So,
Actually, there were Kelly and I, and there were two others in the school on the boat, and every morning we had this exam, and there was only one student who got a 100% on her test, and that was Kelly.
guilty.
Yeah. So this is an interesting class coming up: common phrases with a nautical origin. Steve Wyckoff is the instructor, and he's with us right now. Steve, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Steve.
Right. So, Steve, tell us a little bit about your boating background.
I moved back to Traverse City in 1999. I was downstate working as a teacher before that, but I had a chance to move back to Traverse City. And of course, Traverse City, we're sitting here on Grand Traverse Bay. So, boy, I had to get a boat. Joined the Grand Traverse Yacht Club, of course, a beautiful place. Purchased a Baudet 22 small boat out on the bay. You know how that goes. So after a while, it's like, we need a bigger boat. And so we purchased a Hunter 31 and had it in slip up here in Grand Traverse Bay. I actually became Commodore of the Grand Traverse Yacht Club in 2011, so I got real involved with that, and the friends and that we had here, great people to go cruising with. We have a great cruising group in the Grand Traverse Yacht Club, so off we would go, down the bay. We'd head out the North Channel, up to the Straits, so had a great time. So, and I mentioned earlier to you before we started the program here that I bumped into Dan Klein at the Chicago Boat Show 2018 when I was doing a presentation there on the geology of the North Channel, and from that then joined the Great Lakes Cruising Club. So we've been cruising all over, of course, Grand Traverse Bay, Beaver Island, Mackinac Island, and up in the North Channel. But also we chartered a little bit down in the British Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands. Made a nice trip out to the San Juan Islands off Washington and chartered there. So that's pretty much our boating background, my wife Deborah and myself.
Well, that was pretty shrewd of Dan Klein to recruit you as a member, because he's also recruiting you as an instructor for our school. You've got quite a few on your agenda this year, not just this one, but maybe we can talk about that a little bit too.
Right.
What you have coming up this year.
Yeah, I've got 4 different webinars this year, and these we've done 3 of the 4 in the past and had great results. Rum, I do a thing on the history of rum. That's got a whole story about that as how that came about. Cruising Grand Traverse Bay, of course, this is a destination area if you're a cruiser. And so people from outside the area sometimes don't appreciate what we actually have here, Grand Traverse Bay. So it gives them a chance to see, what the possibilities are here. So that's one coming up in January. And then the amazing North Channel geology. That's one of the original ones that we did. And being an ex-earth science teacher and boating, when you combine the two, when you go cruising, you're not just cruising for sights, you're cruising for geology. And a good friend of mine and myself put this presentation together. We were trying to explain in layman's term the geology of the North Channel. So that's a great one too.
Oh, we're looking forward to those later on in the season.
So you mentioned that you were a teacher in earth sciences, but you must have you probably like words and must love English too because of the nature of this first webinar.
Sure. Yeah, I was a earth science teacher for many years, but then I kind of, the computer age kind of bloomed in while I was an earth science teacher. So I became a computer science teacher in the second part of my career, and eventually to technology director. So moving up through there, we had a good chance to use the technology to explain things. So I was always one when I was a technology director and a computer science teacher to use that with the computer applications. That is, create something. You weren't just doing things to go through a book. You were actually creating something that was worthwhile. So many of my earth science lessons were done on computers because I had access to the computer lab. So we would come up with all kinds of projects. And the project the common phrases with a nautical origin, that's the kind of thing that we would come up with, because it would be like, okay, here's some words. How can we make this display so it's very interesting? So that's how we really got involved with that. So when I look at something like that, I thought, well, how can I make this so it can be interactive, so the participants can be part of it and be entertained by it at the same time.
So is the webinar going to be interactive, or is that?
Yeah, I like to keep everybody involved when they do the webinar. So on this one, everybody will have a chance to get a download the 50 phrases I've come up with. When you look at the phrases that are incorporated in English language that have a nautical origin, there are literally hundreds, maybe thousands of them in the English language. And we just use them every day and don't realize that they actually have a nautical origin. So what I'm going to do is that when people log in, they'll be able to download that sheet that'll show the different types of phrases or terms that have a nautical origin. And then they're going to go along with me and to see if they know what the origin is. They can keep track like a checklist. And so I'll just display the word, display the modern definition, how we use it today, and then to give them either an image or a diagram that shows the nautical origin, see if they can figure out what the origin really was for these. And so we'll just go through all of them one at a time. It's pretty entertaining because there's a lot of great images, pictures, diagrams that explain the origin of those everyday phrases.
Well, that sounds very interesting. It sounds like a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of my word chum friends will want to get in on this.
Yes.
Even if they're not sailors.
The thing I like to do is that find out if you're a landlubber, a deckhand, or an old salt. Depending on how many of these you either know or figure out. If you figure out over half of them, I say, okay, you're an old salt. So you kind of checklist it through, then give yourself that rating at the end.
Sounds great. So that's coming up December 5th, and you can go to the Great Lakes Cruising Club School, the GLCC School, and sign up for the class Common Phrases with a Nautical Origin with Steve Wyckoff. Looking forward to it, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
You bet. Thank you.